Welcome back to another episode of Grindset. I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels, Chief Event Strategist of Cynthia Daniels and Company.
And I'm Williams Brack, business coach and author of Small Business Guide to Capital Readiness.
Exciting. All right, so today we have someone very special, near and dear to my heart. We go way back, but it's so exciting to now interview this young lady in the entrepreneurship world. So Kontji Anthony is the CEO and co-founder of Udl, the place where people and products connect. The Howard University School of Communications graduate holds a Columbia Business School Executive Program certifications in digital marketing and leadership. Kontji is also on the Board of Governors for the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis and serves as the chairwoman of the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis Strengthening Nonprofits Committee. She has a wealth of nonprofit experience. We all know her from our local news stations, but today we're here to talk about her business. So let's talk about Udl a little bit, Brad.
Yeah, we're definitely here to talk about Udl, but let's give Memphis a shout out first.
Okay.
A lot of people might not know that Memphis, for at least the last 4 or 5 years, has been voted one of the top cities for female founders and entrepreneurs. And today we get to talk to two people, one being Kontji Anthony, founder of Udl, which is evidence of Memphis being a top city for female founders, and also Epicenter, which has been a catalyst for that work over the past decade or so. So I'm excited to talk to both.
Yes.
Because Memphis is rocking, and we have a lot to be proud of in the startup and entrepreneurship space.
Absolutely, and I have to also share that I saw the transition happening, the birth of Udl during the pandemic. Kontji had this amazing community group on Facebook,
Yep.
and she shared all these essential items that you just really couldn't find at a certain time. And from that simple concept of generosity, it birthed a business. So we're super excited to talk to her in the next segment.
Well, what we know that is that businesses, the best businesses, solve problems.
That's right.
And Udl, during the time where resources were scarce, toilet paper and water was hard to find, Kontji came up with Udl.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to interviewing Udl, hearing more about the progress. We know where it began. Let's talk about where it's headed. You're listening to Grindset Live with Cynthia and Brack, and we'll be right back with Kontji Anthony, founder of Udl.
We're back again on Grindset, and today's guest, as we promised, is Kontji Anthony, CEO and co-founder of Udl. Welcome to Grindset. How are you doing, Kontji?
You are just giving me spring, summer, and I've been such a fan of all of the great work that you've done, the way you've transformed Memphis with your entrepreneurship. So this is exciting.
Oh, wow.
Seeing you from the beginning to here. And I'm so grateful to be with you because, you have that business mind and, you understand numbers. And so I just love to hear what you're going to ask. I'm like, what's he going to say?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. Look, we're going to have you back next week.
Okay.
It's a great intro.
Maybe you can introduce us next week.
No, seriously, I have always been a fan of your work, but now we get to talk to you in the entrepreneur space. So first of all, tell the Grindset audience, what is Udl? How did the concept come about?
Okay, so Udl, you can go to our website, and we pretty much take the guesswork out of what is really in stock. So instead of driving all over town, calling stores, asking friends, did you see this? We actually coded an algorithm that can search real-time product availabilities.
Wow.
So we're saving time and money, but really where this came from, it came from my childhood when my father, he was an entrepreneur, 53-year business in the New York City area, and it involved the supply chain. So they repaired commercial kitchen operations, to the equipment. And if a part was not available, everything would stop. And so this was a man who would wake up at 3 in the morning, and then at 8 p.m. he'd come home exhausted. So the supply chain has been a problem in my life since, you know, losing my father's prime years with us to this problem.
Right.
And then we come full circle. The pandemic happens, people in their homes are needing these essentials. And so it's not just that, small businesses, it's also people.
Okay.
So what we're doing though, that's exciting, is we're working on a project that would allow small businesses to make their products findable, searchable.
Yes.
So that's what's exciting. That was a long one.
No, that's great. And so let's just dig a little deeper. How did you take it from creating kind of Facebook posts and then it turned into a whole community during the pandemic to saying, wait, I think this is a business that needs to be created?
It was the 2021 ice storm. Yeah, the pipes burst. And
Yeah, we remember.
nobody had water, and it was just kind of like emotional to see like people like bringing water to people, or people saying, you know, I'm giving this away, or this is where you can buy it, this is where it's in stock. And we were just like, this is bigger than us. Like this could help in emergencies, this could help in everyday life. And we found that there are 13 verticals that our White Hot user is using. The sandwich generation, that is the neglected female caretaker. Sometimes it's, well, the sandwich generation can be male or female, but ours are mostly females.
Sure.
Okay.
And they're sandwiched between caring for their parents and their children, so they don't have time for, you know, to search. So we do the search for you. Just udle it.
Just udle it. That's a catchphrase,
So
right?
that's a nice tagline. But the ice storm of 2021.
Oh my goodness. Okay, went on a little tangent there. I got excited. Well, yeah, when we knew that we could really help people, we just believed that this needed to be a technology. And we did a survey, and our people in our group said we would like to have help from the internet.
Sure.
We want algorithmic assistance. They didn't say algorithmic, but we knew what they meant.
Right.
So that's when we got this coded, and it's, you know, a secret algorithm.
Sure. So listen, Kontji, the ice storm of 2021, COVID of 2020, 3 or 4, 5, 6 ice storms before that, and all of us sitting in the room and say, hey, this is a problem. We
Right.
can't get water. So what do you think took you from identifying the problem to moving towards a solution in Udall?
It was the impact, and when I saw the data, engagement wasn't dropping, and so I just said, so okay, I'm like, we have always had this problem, and you know, from the beginning of the time, you know, so it's never quite going to go away because there's always a delay between what you need and where you get it.
Right.
And somebody else often wants it too.
Very true.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing that. And we talked about your father a little bit. What did he teach you about business that you're
goodness.
implementing now?
Oh my goodness. Well, he just said, you know, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, think. Just be thoughtful and mindful. And so being mindful, having mindfulness and putting myself in other people's shoes, he's the most compassionate person that I've ever met. I remember my sister, she'd already had her child, and we had a 2-seater, stroller that was in the trunk, and I was like, I'm gonna give this away. We're on like Old National Highway. Yeah, we were in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, Atlanta. I know it.
Get so busy. And 6 lanes away, there was a woman carrying, she had 1 child in her arms and the other 2. And he just like makes this huge U-turn. I'm like, what are you doing?
Whoa.
Like, is this legal? Sorry,
Yeah.
did I just,
No.
it's my late father, but he can't get in trouble. But he pulls over and just opens the trunk and runs across all these lanes.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and then gave it to her. It was just, and so that's what I saw, the compassion.
The compassion, absolutely. Wow. And so let's talk about the ability to have a team to create a business, right? There are a lot of women that listen to the show that they have this desire to create something, they started themselves, but when you said, okay, Udall's going to become a real business, you decided to create this business with your family. Can you talk about what that looks like, and how do you divvy up your roles and not step into each other's lanes?
What's weird is like, gosh, I used to like read books to our COO in the Trennell, you know, like,
Okay.
like we're best friends.
Yeah.
We are like Charlie's Angels, but we're not, you know, the Black Charlie's Angels. So that's just exciting. My other two sisters for 20 years worked across from each other in my dad's office.
No way.
So they know each other, and they're still best friends. So it's really, it's fun.
Yeah.
And we each have a kind of a different gift.
Okay.
Like one sister's really good with logistics and inventory. The other sister, she loves numbers and marketing. And then I do the communications. And I also have kind of like a design thinking type of mind,
Okay.
where, you know, I can see a problem and imagine the solution, and I'm able to communicate with. I'm a technologist.
Yeah.
I found out I'm a technologist.
Very cool.
Hey everybody, I'm a technologist. But yeah, so that's just really exciting to work with them and building a team. Mm-hmm. What I found was that it's the resources around Memphis that really helped shape us.
Okay.
The first thing I did was I went to a Tennessee Small Business Development Center workshop,
Nice.
and I was like, okay, this is how you do this, and and then I found out that Epicenter was out there, and each one of these, it's like a wheel with spokes, and each one of these agencies have something that complements the other.
Yeah.
So it's like the city's a team for us, and all the agencies, and then we all built, we're building ourselves around each other, and it's exciting. And then working with the University of Memphis, their students are now, they're the ones who are helping us build a small business product plugin so that to make products for the small businesses searchable. So that's really exciting because they're doing that.
That is exciting. And you mentioned the Tennessee Small Business Development Center. Mm-hmm. And one thing I'm sure you learned is the importance of capital. Right. And in the startup space, capital is the fuel for any business. Mm-hmm. So talk about how you were able to raise money or fund it from your career 401k homes to actually launch Udall.
Well, we have to be grateful for angel investors in Memphis.
Sure.
The majority of our money came from angel investors. And then we have one institutional investor. Can I say who that is? So there's one institutional investor. And then, so it's just exciting to have to just be in that world. I'm not comfortable asking people for things because I'm usually, I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So it's very awkward and hard, but I'm trying to learn. This is giving an investor an opportunity as opposed to asking for something.
Right.
So I have to just switch my mindset because I know how big this is, and I know how helpful it has been. And what's exciting is to see the data that where having like 100,000 website engagements, having cities, like we thought it was just going to be Memphis, and somehow the cities that are using it it starts Memphis, and it's Nashville, Atlanta, and I'm like, and then it's like Germantown, New York. And there's a Dallas, yes. And I'm like, how did you guys? But we have, there are certain strategies we put into place that I think made it findable.
Okay.
So.
Because marketing is important, right?
Boom.
So what does that look like since you're over communication?
Yes. So, well, I think doing things like this, because this is 5 years in.
Yeah.
It's established. It's people respect this podcast, and so it's really getting the word out.
Okay.
And also putting into place search engine optimization. Yeah.
So we talked about communication and getting the word out, and institutional investors. This wouldn't be an episode of Grindset if we didn't put you on the spot a little bit.
Oh no.
So for our founders who want to pitch to institutional investors, talk about your prep for the meeting and we'd like to hear an abbreviated version of your pitch.
Give blood. No, it's like they want blood. No, I'm kidding. No, really, what is so exciting is when it's an institutional investor, it helps you to build the infrastructure of your whole company, because they make you dot I's and cross T's. You check boxes, and it makes sure that you have, a strategy in place for succession, or different types of things like that you might not think of. So I just think that when you're working in that area, it's really it makes you have a better company. And there was a second question.
Oh, the pitch. Can we
pitch,
hear an abbreviated version of? So let's say Grindset reaches a national level.
I just hit my mic. I'm a 28-year news anchor. I just hit my mic because I'm like, oh my goodness, didn't expect it. Okay.
Well, let's pretend there's some institutional investors listening to Grindset right now, which is highly likely. What is your pitch to them? Because they may have capital for you.
Okay, well, my name's Kontji Anthony. I am the CEO and co-founder of Udall. We take the guesswork out of in-stock products, knowing that they're really there. And we basically are helping twofold, where not only are we helping people in their homes to locate in-stock products, we're also helping Main Street America to stabilize their businesses so that they can market their products. And so we are looking for, our ask is 1.8 million. What we need this for is to pay our software developers. I mean, it's pretty expensive for the infrastructure to build it. But once it's built, we have an incredible, we have 5 sales channels that will bring money in. So it's a great opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Institutional investors, you've heard the pitch. Put this on replay.
Yeah, I think the check has already been written. So tell me, Kontji, one of the things that I really try to get founders and entrepreneurs to share with our listening audience, the work-life balance. Is that a real thing in this space now that you are a business owner?
I don't even know the word balance. I don't know what you're talking about. But
and that's a real answer, right? So what does a typical day then look like for you as a CEO and co-founder?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it could be, coming here. It could be, meeting with, I'm talking with a VC,
okay.
And, a venture capitalist firm.
Thank you.
So somebody reached out, and so I'm prepping for that. I might be creating a pitch deck specifically for that investor.
Okay.
What does that investor, what about my company is appealing to that investor?
Right.
So I'm writing 1 million pitch decks, filling out applications. I remember applications for funding. So, I remember being up at 6 in the morning one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got to finish this. Because sometimes you don't know that the funding is out there or the grant's out there.
Sure.
And, so you're like, you find out about it and then you're like, yeah.
Okay. And are there ever any days where you just feel like you have to take a mental break for yourself?
Today.
Today?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, I couldn't type anymore. Like I was like, okay, I'm not typing today.
Yeah.
So then I was like this. I couldn't stop myself.
Oh, I can relate. And I think that's one thing that happened during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. It slowed me down
okay.
as an entrepreneur, and it's okay to rest.
You're right. Thanks for the tip, Coach.
It's okay to rest. There you go.
I need that.
So speaking of rest, I think people often glamorize being an entrepreneur, and even more glamorize being a startup founder. Can you talk about sort of all the things that you're doing as a founder? They think it's just you go out and ask for money, but you may be doing 10 different jobs. Or you may be getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I'd like to explain to the Grindset audience and potential entrepreneurs sort of the not so glamorous side of the startup life.
Okay, so it might sound glamorous that, our COO is in Canada right now on a trade mission, right?
Wow.
But think about all the prep that has to happen, right? So you're like, I'm carrying things. If you're going to a conference, yes, that's me with the backpack in the heels, like carrying everything, pulling the tripod, oh my gosh, we have to put this up, waking up, at ungodly hours. So you're that person who's doing everything.
Right.
Just like, you were mentioning, I was, for 28 years, a TV news anchor. Well, people thought that was glamorous, but
You're on TV every day, right?
No. I would have like your shoes are like throwaway because you don't know if you're going to be in mud,
Wow.
Yeah, I'd be climbing up a hill in mud, like I was supposed to be in City Hall today. And, and then there's a chop shop. And so now I had to go up the hill and climb over to find this hidden,
Wow.
So you never knew where you were going to be. And like I was saying, you do your own makeup, so I'm in the car like this, and so it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's really raw.
Yeah.
And you're trying to let people see your vision, but you have to let them see where the money is.
Exactly.
They need to believe that it's going to generate funds, so you have to try to get that across.
You have to express a return on investment.
Right, ROI, baby.
There we go.
It's simple. I tell people when I do business coaching, if someone gives you $1, what's your evidence that you can repay that money?
Right.
And so what have you learned about money since starting Udall?
Well, I have a new mindset. You know how they say money doesn't grow on trees? Well, it actually does. Like cash, isn't it made out of paper? Isn't paper made out of wood? So I'm like, I just believe that the funding is going to come when we need it, as we need it, and we already have our monetization tools being coded. Nice. So that's what's really exciting.
Shout out to monetization.
He just got he's like, you got serious when that word came out.
Well, and I guess as you start this journey, what professional advisors do you work with? Do you work with accountants? Do you work with bankers? Do you work with attorneys? Do you work with organizations like Epicenter? What relationships that don't directly operate in the business do you have to support your growth?
Yes, that's the thing. Like Epicenter, I mean, we actually have, this is like our office. So if I have to have a meeting, this is where I'm having the meeting. So I was so excited you guys were in here.
Yeah.
I feel at home. But Epicenter has been amazing, talking about, checking the boxes and just making sure that you're, you have a strong foundation.
Absolutely.
So this has been this has been our strongest partnership. Yeah.
Any other professional advisors you work with?
You mean like one-on-one?
One-on-one could be banks, could be accountants, could be attorneys, or it could be those institutional investors and other things that come with money.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, what's been exciting for us is we have our angel investors are real investors. Like they, I mean, one called and was like, listen, if you want, I have an intern that I can, fund for you, or like, just, or different advice that we have. These are people that you can go to because they work with money. Right. We have this one, there's this one woman who is a business coach, and she's like, I don't even want to charge you guys. She's like, I just want to see you guys do this because I believe in this and I believe in you. And so, it's stuff like that. And I don't want to put anybody's name out there. It's just there are a lot of amazing people in Memphis, out of Memphis, New York, California, everywhere.
Wow,
Atlanta.
that's just truly incredible. And as Brack mentioned too earlier, that this is the place to be as a female entrepreneur in Memphis and Epicenter, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So, Kontji, as we close out the segment, can you tell our listeners more about Udall? Where can they find you? Whether it's your website, social media channels. I don't know if they can call you, if there's a hotline, but please let the listeners know.
Yes, we are at Udall It, YOUDLE, it.com. Like Google it, but Udall it.
Love it.
So you can go to our website, and that's where you can find in-stock products. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course the Facebook group. We love that community part of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's what makes us special, is that we're real people helping each other. So we're everywhere.
That's awesome.
Roll up. Roll up on me.
I love it. And I see the bumper stickers now. Udall it.
Yes.
Well, Kontji, it's been incredible to
I
hear your
love
journey. I'm such a fan of yours.
She's so wonderful. She's so kind.
Thank you. And likewise, it's been amazing to see you have one career and launch another with ease. You inspire people.
I hope so.
And I know a lot of people listening to this podcast are really going to take notes and really go forward with everything you share.
Do it. Don't give up. Do it.
And I'm looking forward to telling the Grindset and everybody else to just udel it.
Yes.
There you go.
Love that.
All right.
You're listening to Grindset Live at Epicenter with Cynthia and Brack, and we'll be right back after the break.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Success in life is not a straight line. There are twists and turns in everyone's life, and the more you know about their story, the more you'll understand the process. Kontji Media Group proudly presents The Journey, a show that features successful black men in Memphis telling their stories of their lives and the ups and downs they've encountered on their ultimate road to success. We believe The Journey will encourage young men and help them see that life is a journey. Watch The Journey, hosted by me, Larry Robinson. Brought to you by the Kontji Media Group in partnership with the Delta Boulé, and proudly supported by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Thank you to our partners.
Welcome back to Grindset Live. We're here at the beautiful offices of Epicenter Memphis. We're here with the president and CEO, Jessica Taveau. As we mentioned at the beginning of the segment, Memphis is one of the top cities for female founders and women entrepreneurs in the entire country. And a huge catalyst of that has been Epicenter Memphis. And a catalyst of Epicenter Memphis has been Jessica. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Well, what a compliment. It's great to be on this side with you all. I mean, we're so glad to have been able to work together on Grindset for all these years. It's such a point of pride and has really helped us tell the stories of local entrepreneurs. So I'm so glad to be talking with you both, like celebrities. You know?
We're thrilled to have you, and just again, thank you for having the vision to help us bring this show to life. And it's just been nothing but a fun ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
So for the Grindset listeners, the Memphis audience and the national audience that's not familiar with the work of Epicenter, would you mind explaining all of the different things that Epicenter might help a startup or an existing business owner with?
Sure. Well, Epicenter is an entrepreneurship hub organization, which just means that we work with a lot of different partners in the region to make sure that anyone who wants to start or grow a business here in lots of different areas have the resources they need and access to the resources they need to do that. Just stepping back, we started out of the Greater Memphis Chamber Chairman Circle almost 10 years ago because they had a vision. There were a lot of things in entrepreneurship going on in Memphis, but there was no really obvious way to access those in one place. There were lots of organizations, but nobody was truly working together. And so our role has really been to really pull those partners together in an ecosystem. And when we say ecosystem, we just mean all the parts and pieces of a support system for an entrepreneur. So customers, capital, talent, networking, all the things that Kontji just talked about. And so we've taken on that role. We first, you can access those resources through our intake portal. So you can come to Epicenter and we can either direct you to resources we may have or resources that a partner may have. So Kontji mentioned Small Business Development Center. That's a partner of ours. We have many, many others. We have direct programs here. We have Co-Starters, which is sort of a 12-week boot camp for those who have an idea or an existing business and want to get that off the ground. We have a new accelerator program through an organization called Alchemist for tech startups. We have connections to capital through our angel meetups. And so again, we really try to connect entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs to all the different pieces of starting a business, all the different resources that are available in the region.
Oh, thank you for sharing. And I like to sometimes start at the beginning with the end. So talk about some success stories, maybe one or two, that gives people an example of the work that Epicenter does.
Sure. I think one that comes to mind is a company called MedHall. So a number of years ago, Epicenter worked with the Memphis Medical District Collaborative to do a reverse pitch. So we gathered the members of the medical district, the institutions that are part of that medical district, and said, what are you struggling with right now that you can't find a local resource for? And there were lots of different ideas, and one of them was around patient transportation. So our nurses are spending time and energy really helping people people get to their appointments and then get home. And that's a real need here.
Yeah.
And so out of that reverse pitch came MedHall. So Erica Plybier and her team came up with a software-enabled solution to connect folks with the needed transportation to get to the clinics and appointments that they need. And now she is on the national stage raising money.
Yeah.
She's been Google for Black Startups. She's been in a National City commercial. She has a pilot going on with a local institution. I think I can say it, but I'll just leave that to. And she's utilizing space here at Epicenter. And so I think that's a real example of, you mentioned earlier, entrepreneurs solve problems.
Yep.
She saw a problem. The corporate community was involved. The local community and national community has really enabled her to solve a real problem for real people in Memphis and build a business around that. That is a perfect example of what we want to see happen.
Absolutely.
And we had Erica Plybier on the Grindset podcast.
Yeah.
And so one of the
So everybody go back and listen to the episode so you get more details.
And the standout thing that happened on that episode of Grindset is that the idea sparked in the shower. Erica Plybier came to Epicenter with MedHall as an idea in the shower.
Yeah.
She didn't have a business plan. She just had the idea. And from that, it sparked some funding, some conversation. Now she's nationwide and has employees. And so that's a testament that you can bring an idea to Epicenter. It doesn't have to be a well thought out plan because, like you said, there's an ecosystem to take you from idea to business plan.
And we want to make that easy. We want to make those resources easy to understand, easy to access, because there are ideas everywhere, especially here in Memphis. We have brilliant, innovative people all across our city, and so how can we make those resources, whatever stage you are, easy and accessible?
So that's what I'd love for you to talk about, because a lot of our listeners, we have, people that are working that comfortable job. They get their paycheck every 2 weeks, and they think about this business constantly, but it's scary, right? Who just leaves a great job and starts a business not knowing what it looks like?
Right.
So can you talk about just the process, right? Again, we have the success of Erica Plybier, but just someone comes in off the street, what does that look like? I know you have a 12-week accelerator, but just anybody, even outside of that, what does it look like to work with Epicenter?
Sure. So it really depends on, I would say, first of all, and I'm not a business advisor despite this, despite this role, so let me just put that caveat here.
Okay, we got it.
But I think it really depends on what that person's goals are and where they are in the process and what kind of business idea they have. So we really try to work with that potential entrepreneur to identify what the best resources is for you next. So you can come, you literally fill out a brief intake form, and then our team is going to help you navigate to what resources next. And it is, starting a business is scary, and it's not for everyone, and we want to make sure that we're not over-promising anything. We want to make sure that we want to be realistic about the risk that you're taking personally and financially. So something like, I don't want to keep going back to co-starters, but something like a co-starters can kind of help you think through that. And there are some people who graduate from co-starters that say, you know what, I'm going to put this on the shelf because maybe I'm more comfortable with a full-time job. That's a good outcome for that program.
They didn't go out there, take the leap, and know where to return. Right.
Now, some people are like, I'm even more double down on this. That's also a good outcome.
That's a great thing.
Right, but we want people to be able to test and experiment with that. There's also a program available, actually, courtesy of the Ford Motor Company Fund right now called Builders and Backers, which is also available for people in West Tennessee who want to experiment with an idea. There's a little bit of money associated. There's a program, and we're a partner in that we provide that opportunity to local folks, but for people who are, I've talked to folks in that program, they're like, I just had this idea for X, Y, and Z, and I'm able to experiment with that and test it out in this program with a low risk. And so we want people to be thinking entrepreneurially, but we want people to be realistic about what risk it takes, if you're ready, if you really want that. We don't want to overpromise. We believe in entrepreneurship. It's a big part, it's a pathway to individual wealth, to community wealth, to family wealth, generational wealth. It helps our community. It helps our economy grow, but we also want to be realistic about the opportunity.
Oh, I love that. And so when you think about some of the people that have walked through your door, would you say there's a certain industry in the entrepreneurship space that you see a big emphasis on right now?
That's a great question. we've seen all kinds of entrepreneurs with all kinds of ideas,
Okay.
from I would say food, packaged food.
Foodpreneurs,
Yes,
that's a
and I
thing
know that's
now.
I know you and I could talk more about that, but packaged food that can be scaled and distributed is something that's really we're actually offering some programming around that coming up, so stay tuned.
Okay.
There's so much great food here, and a lot of people are building businesses around that.
Yeah.
We've seen all kinds of entrepreneurs. I will say, since we're talking to Kontji about tech startups in Memphis, the tech startup scene has really generally focused on some of the industries that are strong in the Memphis region. So
Okay.
we've seen a lot of medical device and health tech, agricultural tech, and so climate
sense.
tech.
Yeah.
Supply chain and logistics technology, including robotics. There's music technology, and
Music
oh,
technology.
yes.
Okay, wait, gotta
Yes.
stop you there. Elaborate. What is music technology?
Well, there's a company here called Connect Music that helps, and I'm gonna just really oversimplify this.
Okay.
It helps artists who are streaming their music
Okay.
get paid in a more efficient way. So because
Wow.
it sort of simplifies that process. And so Connect Music incubated here at Epicenter and now has their own space over on Vance Avenue downtown. So
That's
led by George
incredible.
Monger and his team. And so yeah.
So, I mean, how many entrepreneurs do you feel like you all over the past 10 years have really pushed out there and helped them get their own spaces?
I know our numbers are around the 2,000 mark of people who have come through our doors and we've
incredible.
engaged. Our original goal was to help start 500 new businesses and help 1,000 entrepreneurs, and I know we've surpassed that with more to come. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
That is exciting.
And Jessica, it would
We're fighting over you so much. I want to know more, but go, Brad.
well, ecosystem work and helping thousands of entrepreneurs doesn't happen without a team.
Right.
So talk about some of the in-house talent
Sure.
that Epicenter has that's able to help these entrepreneurs.
Well, some of them are in the audience tonight, and I'm giving a shout out to Tonda, Jillian, Janelle. I think it takes a really dedicated team who is so passionate about the city. Our team is, top notch, first of all. We've built a team who really cares about the folks who are at the center of our work, who are the entrepreneurs. And so these folks have a culture. We've built a culture of really, service to those entrepreneurs, helping them solve problems where, where maybe they're not able to solve them themselves, or making it easier to find resources. Our team really wants to see Memphis progress and grow. And so the heart of what we do as entrepreneurs, but our team really just deeply feels passionate about that. Right. And you can see that in our work. I mean, working for a nonprofit is, it's sort of like being an entrepreneur. You wear a lot of hats. Our entire team wears a lot of hats. They put their heart and soul into the work. I think we have done a good job saying that to make sure that they're able to put their families first, and so we're also, that has been, part of our culture here as well. But that said, I mean, it's from marketing communications and making sure people know about these opportunities to people who are actually helping deliver the programs. Absolutely. To people who are building partnerships with other organizations. We have the best team in Memphis. So,
thank you for sharing that, and shout out to the Epicenter team.
Yes.
Now, Jessica, I cannot let you get out of here without asking about capital.
Yes, sure.
That is the lifeblood of startups, of businesses, and entrepreneurs. What kind of work do you do in the capital space? Either access to capital, financial intelligence, or introduction to investors?
Sure. Well, that's definitely the number one question we get asked. It's the number one, resource needed, and so it's always at the top of our list. And so we have been very deliberate about building resources and connections to a capital stack. So we look at both, when we're talking about capital, historically, Epicenter has worked both in the debt capital side and venture, venture capital, equity capital. And so on the debt side, historically we've had a product called Friends and Family Fund. We know that some folks in our community, friends and family are integral to building a business and helping you maybe get to that first milestone. And there are people in our community that don't have a friends and family network that can provide thousands of dollars to get a piece of equipment. So Epicenter has served as friends and family. That's something that we raise funds around from philanthropic donations, and we'll be raising money for that again soon. So shout out to fundraising. So friends and family, we've also worked with local banks and CDFIs to really provide access to different kinds of capital, so loan funds, flexible loan, lines of credit, and really we've tried to think about debt capital in all stages of an entrepreneur's journey for those who are raising that kind of cash or raising that kind of capital, during their growth. So from the very beginning through growth period. On the venture side, Kontji mentioned angel investing. One of our roles has been to really build the angel investor community here. That's a really essential piece of early stage startups. And so we have a lot of capacity here in the community to have more angels, but a lot of people don't know what that means for their portfolio or what that what that looks like. And so we have provided angel education, angel investor education as a community. So we're training new angels right now. What does that mean for your portfolio? What should you be asking? And then also worked with organizations like Innova, which is early stage capital. They've been a longtime partner of Epicenter. They help us deploy what's called a formation fund, which is, again, early stage venture capital that's intended to be some first dollars in and de-risk other investors for more startup activity. And then finally, I'll say that we're really excited to see new venture capital coming into the market. Ridgeline is a new VC firm from LA, opened a Memphis office.
Really?
They've been great partners of ours and are really raising funds from local corporations to put dollars into more Memphis-based startups. And so we're seeing some more activity in that space. But again, back to your question, I think really trying to look at capital for different kinds of businesses at different stages that it's appropriate for where you are as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Cynthia?
So one thing I have to talk about, I want to shift gears just a bit.
Okay.
We talked in the previous segment and said that entrepreneurship is not always glamorous, right? So again, as the president and CEO of Epicenter, I would love it if you could share with our listening audience, what are some of the mistakes that you could avoid as a new entrepreneur? What are some of the things you've seen over the years?
Okay. I think the number one thing I've observed, I think, and this is very normal in all entrepreneurial ecosystems, is what problem are you solving with your business idea?
Okay.
Is there actually, making sure you're very clear about what your product or service is solving and where the gap is, and making sure that there's a space for you to enter that market with a new solution that's going to be better than what's going on currently.
Okay.
I think, let's see, what could you avoid? I think, gathering as much support system as you can. I think folks often think they're the only ones dealing with something.
Yeah.
I know I've experienced that as a newer nonprofit CEO. Is like, well, I must be the only one that's struggling with X, Y, and Z. And I talk to other nonprofit CEOs, and they're like, oh no, it's all of us.
It's all of us.
It's all
there
of us.
You go.
And I really, the more entrepreneurs we talk to, it's all of us. Whatever issue you're struggling with, others are going through that, and they've either found a solution or don't be afraid to ask for help and sort of open the books and be open to accepting that help, because chances are somebody else has it figured out or has a solution for it. So I think, leaning on others, asking for help, and also being very clear on what problem you're solving.
So I love that. And so tell me too, with the businesses you're developing in Epicenter, is there like a community or camaraderie amongst them as they're going through the programs together?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's why we love programs that have cohorts.
Okay.
Because when you have a group of other entrepreneurs, it highlights for you that others are going through those same or having
Gotcha.
those same questions.
Yeah.
And so, and then somebody will bring up a question or a solution that others will say, I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that, or somebody has a connection in the group, and then then that community grows. So yes, we love we call them cohorts, but we love group programs because you end up learning as much from each other.
So much more from each other. Yeah.
that-
And
than
it's
you
great
do from-
networking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
part of our
incredible.
role. That's part of our role is to grow that entrepreneurial community.
Love
Yes.
that.
So I have two final questions.
Okay.
So the first one is sort of technical because as a banker and someone in the financial space, one of the primary issues with new founders is the equity question. They never want to give up equity to grow their business because they may not understand equity versus control. Talk about how you educate and get people comfortable with the equity conversation.
I don't know that I'm the best person to ask that. I do think really, again, I think finding those advisors and what's that?
We can skip it if you like.
Yeah, let's skip that question.
All right.
I started sweating when we started talking about it.
So Jessica,
That's why we have a team,
Yeah, thanks for sharing about the cohort because community is essential.
Yes.
But now I'm going to put you in the seat that I put Kontji was
Okay.
in. Pretend the listeners are potential Epicenter donors.
Okay.
What is your pitch to them?
Okay, potential Epicenter donors. So, I think, in Memphis, there are brilliant ideas and innovations everywhere, and Epicenter provides a one-stop place for Memphians and folks who want to relocate to Memphis to come find resources and come find community. But it takes all of us to fund that work. Our economy can grow, people can find wealth and build generational wealth through entrepreneurship, but it takes investment from our community and from our business community. And so Epicenter is an organization that can help make that happen.
Clap, clap, clap.
And practice that. Yeah.
Well, if you have some dollars to give the Epicenter.
Yeah.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization,
Yeah.
so your donations are tax deductible. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us, Jessica, tell our listeners, Jessica, how can they find out more about Epicenter?
Sure.
Is there even a deadline or applications for the cohorts that you currently have existing?
Sure. All of that information can be found at epicentermemphis.org, so EPICENTER, memphis.org.
Okay.
We provide a lot of information about upcoming programs and deadlines on our social media accounts as well. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And thank you, Janelle. And so I think those are the main, the two places to find us. We obviously promote a lot of events on Eventbrite, but definitely come to one of our upcoming meetups. We're going to have, we're hoping to have a Grizzlies playoff watch party.
Yeah,
Yes, we have, tech meetups. We have, sometimes we'll have free co-working days. So just watch our social accounts for that information and come be with other entrepreneurs, even if you don't have anything started. Just come hang out with us.
It's all about being in that environment.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, Jessica, we have thoroughly enjoyed talking with you, hearing more about your role and all the great work you're doing in the city of Memphis.
Great. Well, I just love talking to y'all, and I feel like there's a lot of other stuff we talk about. So yeah.
Well, I've said it on episode after episode of Grindset, but I'll say it to your face. Shout out to Epicenter.
Shout out.
That's being done in
Shout out to
Memphis.
Grindset.
Yeah.
It's been a great partnership, and we love the work that Kontji has done to really bring our original vision from 5 years ago forward, and it's been amazing to see how it's grown, and all the stories that y'all have been able to tell together. It's just been incredible. It's really has brought our vision to life. So
Yeah. Well, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at Grindset Live.
Yes.
And we'll catch you at the next episode.
Great.
Check out all your Kontji favorites now.
Welcome back to Grindset Live with Cynthia and Brack. We're here at the Epicenter office, and we just finished a conversation with Kontji Anthony, founder of Udl, and Jessica Taveau, president and CEO of Epicenter Memphis. And if you didn't get anything from this episode, the higher message is start that business. No idea is too small, whether it's in the shower, a business plan you've been sitting on, start. And a good start would be contacting Epicenter Memphis and taking advantages of some of the resources that would allow you to realize that dream of yours. And Kontji was a good example of that. There are problems all around us. Be the person that's the solution. Cynthia.
So for today's episode in Woman Power Quote, I found the perfect quote that really embodies both of our guests today and just hopefully inspires our listeners. It says, ignore the glass ceiling and do your work. If you're focusing on the glass ceiling, focusing on what you don't have, focusing on limitations, then you'll be limited. That's from Ava DuVernay. And when I think of her story, she started a whole film career in her late 30s, and just look at her now. So again, hopefully that inspires some of our listeners today.
Well, listen, the only limits are the ones that you create for yourself. Be limitless. You're listening to Grindset, and we'll see you next episode.
That was off the dome, wasn't it? Be limitless.